to have those kingdom conversations.
Thank you and welcome to Kingdom Conversations with Dr. Shirley and Leandra, where each week, through the grace of God, we hope to inspire women to thrive in their purpose-driven lives through lessons learned and a whole lot of wisdom.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Kingdom Conversations. I'm Dr. Shirley.
And I am Leandra Williams, and we are here on Kingdom Conversations. We are here with Miss Dr. Shirley Kona and myself. We have a great topic today. We're happy that you're joining us once again. We've been bouncing back and forth from beginning to end on different topics, but today we are touching on friendship and what friendship means, why friendships are important, and what healthy friendships should be looking like, because not all friendships may be great friendships. So we are learning today on, we're going to speak on things that we can touch on, that we've gone through, that we can personalize with and also empathize with. But Shirley, I know that this is a great conversation for us because our friendship started maybe almost, a year and a half ago, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like our friendship is very deep in a sense of it feels like it's been longer than what it is. So we'll start off, I guess, with that. And what does friendship mean to you? Like, what does that mean to you? What do you call a friend? Who do you call a friend?
That is the greatest question on the planet, okay? Seriously, you couldn't have started off better, and we didn't even plan that. Because first and foremost, I can't even believe I'm talking about friendships because I haven't had the best of luck with friendships. So it's only because of you. You've opened my eyes, because the truth is, when you talk about or you're asking me the definition of a friendship,
right.
Apparently I wasn't having friendships. Oopsie daisy. My husband would have the nerve to be like, you've known this girl since you were 5, since you were 10, and I don't see y'all communicating. I don't see you check up on each other.
Right.
I don't see you visiting each other. And I'm like, well, we all have life. We're moms, we're wives, we're busy. Or, you live in another town or another zip code or whatever. My husband didn't have time for my excuses, okay? Friendships are intentional.
So he was seeing through that, you're saying, what you were calling a friendship, he was kind of seeing through that, and he's like, no, I'm not buying that.
No. He's like, I don't even think they're acquaintances. I'm like, what? That person knows all my secrets, because, right, we were raised together. That person knows all my secrets. I know all their secrets. We know how to push each other's buttons or what makes each other laugh. And to be honest, I feel though I have had 2 really good friendships where, to be honest, we don't even push each other's buttons. I think we're very respectful of each other, but I think it's the taking it a step further, digging a little deeper. I mean, I thought we were deep because, again, we've grown up together, but just really being intentional of checking on each other, sharing our lives. My friendships are the type of ones, we may not talk in a couple months, but once we do, we picked up from where we left off. It's like we never ended the conversation.
Those are good conversations and friendships to have, I think, because you do have that space, right? Everybody, you went to college, so you were in college with your friends. So you had that bond through going to school, and then you all went about your careers and your lives, and you got married and so on and so forth. And I'm not saying that that's an excuse, but everybody kind of pots and goes their own way, and then you get busy with life. So when you do come together, and if you can pick up where you left off, I do feel like that is a quality friendship to some degree, because there's no awkwardness there. You still have the same respect, the same love. You're still invested in each other to know how each other are doing. So I don't see anything wrong with that. But
Mr.
Apparently.
was not accepting it.
Apparently.
He would call me out too. He would call my girl, "You're a horrible friend," and he'll look at me, "Shirley, you're a horrible friend." I'm like, on.
But you have low maintenance friendships. I think that's what that is.
That's what
I think that's a low maintenance friendship. But he filled that. He filled that in, and he's your BFF, so to speak, right? So he kind of took that place. So when you're giving that attention to him, so I kind of am okay with that, because I feel like that's a low maintenance friendship. That's what I call a low maintenance friendship.
But because he kept talking, and then like when we were looking for houses together with you, like he would just be saying like, oh, you know, Miss Lily like really respects you and she loves you. And I'm like, for real? I'm like, well, I like her too, but like we're just getting to know each other. Like, are you sure? Because I'm thinking no one likes me because I really haven't built friendships as an adult. Like I have 1,000 acquaintances, right? But like coming over to my house, coming into my space, and me going over to your house, and like us sharing our families, sharing our lives, that hasn't happened a lot. So I was like, are you sure?
But that's how I do friendship, right? Because the friends that I've had over my years, it's like they are a part of my family. So that is how, and especially, and there's different levels of friendships that I have. I have friends that, you know, through business and where, you know, we connect in that way. I have friends that are clients turned friends, but none of them have necessarily been in a sense of where we're like, okay, we're God bless you, girl. So we definitely have different levels and different friendships that we can call it and identify. And I'm okay with that. But as far as close friends, best friends, sister friends, god sisters, I feel like that is family. And I feel like bringing those friendships around family to me has always been important, because that's when we're just kind of doing life together. You need a backbone every now and then, right? And I have my 4 sisters, right? And they're all...
You're so lucky.
Yeah, I'm definitely blessed, lucky to have the 4 sisters. And that's definitely something that I do not take for granted at all. And I do very much so look at them as my friends. So even when I have my close friends, I almost call them my sisters too, because I give a lot in relationships. So when you get that bond with somebody, and that doesn't come often, right? You don't just blend and mesh with every Joe Schmo, so to speak. But to find a good friend, my grandmother was always like, if you have one good friend, consider yourself lucky. Because it's like, what is a friend? There's girls out there that are kind of catty, you know, there's hidden agendas, there's jealousy, there's just kind of, you know, envy. And
pretty much just summed up my life.
Yeah, I know you have certain stories with that. And I've dealt with certain things like that too on the envy side. And I mean, it's hard to, I think when you have those long friendships and things like that, when you're in a younger stage of your life, I think that kind of comes out a little bit more, and you kind of want to believe people when they show you who they are the first time. Just saying.
I was probably longing for some friendships and maybe didn't select the right ones. Like you know, like when you're young, right? Like you're just like talking about like, you know, Janet Jackson on like on her new music video, and like going to, well, back then it was Riverside before they turned it into Six Flags. But like you're just going about life, right?
Oh, you're dating us, girl. You are dating us. That is hilarious.
But like, you know, you're not engaging in like deep philosophical conversations, right? You're just talking about, ooh, I love my new Dunkaroos pack and Fruit Loops. Like that's it. But as I had gotten older, and well, actually, to even go back a little bit, like, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but like, I really am a tomboy, and I always got along with guys. Like I was so into cars and sports, like ever since I was young, and like girls would want to play house with me. And I'm like, no, like, I'm
not interested in that, actually.
Like, no. I want to rough up. Like I want to get dirty in the mud. I want to climb fences and trees. Like I was surrounded by boys. And I mean, the girls, I mean, yeah, like I'd love to sleep over your house. I mean, my mama wasn't letting me sleep over no boy's house. Let's keep it real. But like, you know, I'll sleep over your house and like, you know, we can brush each other's hair and play with dolls. Like I know how to play the part. But
that wasn't something that you wanted to do. Like that wasn't something that was a bonding moment for you or something that you were like, I think back when my friendships, we liked to like drive around, listen to music. We loved dancing. We loved all of that.
Yeah,
maybe in my younger years with my cousins and things like that, we played house or dolls, but I think that was like, you know, elementary school.
Yeah.
And then middle school.
That's where all my friendships started, elementary.
Yeah, that's like, where all my friendships started too, is elementary school, but that's such a blessing all in itself as well if you still have those friendships. I think those should be cherished, you know. Some don't make the course of time, but that's okay. That's not a bad thing. There's certain, you know, and I don't like to say that everybody is only there for a certain season or everybody shouldn't, you know, be there for the long run. I really think that's an individual decision. I don't think that that's something that I can project and say that overall, especially because I know that you have friendships that are still going from, you know, elementary time. And I do still have those friendships. I would not say we're as close, but I still wish them well. I still, you know, I keep up with them through, you know, socials and things like that. You know, I see some of them, I haven't even met their children. And I'm like, this is so crazy because when you were younger, you talked about like, oh, we're going to get married or we're going to have kids or our kids are going to be best friends or, you know, you have those conversations and then now you grow up and that's not necessarily how life goes where you're painting this pretty little picture. But it's kind of like, you know, when do you cut a friend off though? When do you find yourself in that transition mode where now you are picking up on certain things and you're not necessarily agreeing with things like you said specifically you're having conversations about Dunkaroos and fruit roll-ups, right? Okay, now we're transitioning into adulthood. Now you're into real life and now you're looking for something that's a little bit more plentiful, a little bit more fulfilling. You want to speak on, you know, kingdom conversations, so to speak, but you want to speak on a level where you are aligning with your purpose in life. If that's not meshing well with your friendships that you had at a youth, as a juvenile, and now you're an adult, how do you let that go and still be able to have peace with certain people? Because sometimes I feel like you'll just let things run its course and then it ends in a messy way.
Ooh,
so I think that's hard.
Oopsie daisy. And it was weird. Like, so I'll answer your question, but like in terms of like the messy conversation, like it's so funny. I remember like it was yesterday. This girl and I, we met in college. You know, we're having fun. We actually do sleep over each other's houses, right? Whatever, we visit each other. You know, like we're getting our masters together, all that good stuff.
Yes.
And then one night,
she
decided to like pop off at my husband, like get disrespectful with him. And I'm like, you think I'm gonna let you insult my husband in front of me? Like, okay, all right, well, don't get in your feelings, Shirley. Like, all right, let's be cordial. Let's be like, okay, we're not gonna use those type of words. All right, you're able to express your feelings without being insulting. But she just kept getting insulted. Afterwards, my mama told me, oh, actually, the Holy Spirit was telling me you needed to end that conversation. Well, you could have told me. You could have knocked on the door while I was having this conversation because it went so left. Like I eventually ended up calling her out because I kept telling her, I was like, all right, this conversation, I could see it going far left. Yeah. Let's just table it. We'll do it another day.
You have that gut feeling where you're like, this is not at all.
We're going for the jugular, and I don't do that in friendships. I don't. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So like she just kept going and I was like, oh, you haven't seen this side of me, but you're bringing it. So let me put you in your place. And if you keep continuing like this, then we don't have a friendship, you know?
Right.
And she was like, oh, really? And I was like, if you're going to continue to be disrespectful, if you're not going to talk to me like an adult, then let's end this conversation. Well, we can end our friendship. Oh, so really? We're doing this after 10 years? We're doing this? All right. Wow. Have a nice life. Literally, just out of nowhere. To me, it was out of nowhere. She must have been going through something. Listen, I haven't talked to her
See,
since.
but you say out of nowhere, and I feel like things can build up over time.
On her end, because
on her end,
maybe
she's not expressing that. She wasn't expressing that, and that's a problem because things can build up over time. People don't say something. People don't address things. That aggravates the crap out of me because I'm like, okay, if something is bothering me and you know this very well, I'm like, I'm going to bring it up. Sometimes people are like, maybe you should take a moment. And I'm like, no. We're going to talk about this because then if you ignore something and then you keep proceeding on, if that person, sometimes people are doing things that they're not even aware of. They're not aware that they're doing something that's even bothering you.
Because they're in it. They're
right.
in the
and you're not,
whatever they're going through.
And it's not intentionally to be, hurtful towards you. So I think if you address things and you talk about it, then you kind of get to learn each other a little bit better where you can understand, okay, that's, some people find like, for instance, you can be joking with somebody and some people like, I don't think that was funny. You know what I mean? You can just be like, that wasn't funny. So now next time she don't be liking jokes.
Don't play that.
She don't like sarcasm. She don't like that. She's dry.
Listen, if you don't like sarcasm, we can't even be friends to begin with.
And that's okay. But like that, pointing that out is something to know, right? Because they'll be like, she's always just kind of talking to me like crazily and she's always making jokes at me. And some people
and
take
I have been accused of that. Somebody has said, Shirley, please don't give advice when it's not solicited. And I had somebody was like, Shirley, you were really harsh with your words. And I was like, oh, my fault. I didn't know. You know what? And I apologize. Because listen, once I became like a born again, like I have zero problems apologizing. I will apologize. Oh, but you still don't want to be my friend? But you calling yourself a Christian? You don't even know how to forgive. Like, girl, bye. Like, but I realize, right? Like, you don't know it when you're in it, but like relationships have seasons. Yeah. They were supposed to, even if they came in for like 5 months and they're out, that's it. Because even when I'm wrong and I apologize, maybe you still need to sit with it. Okay, no problem. But I'm trying to call you after, weeks after, reaching out, trying to be cordial. And you're not even picking up my phone. You're not acknowledging me. Oh, you cut me off. Well, then at that point, you're in the wrong because I'm joking. I'm not intentionally trying to hurt you. I'm not intentionally trying to put you down. So you, as an adult, should communicate to me your feelings. I am hurting. If you don't, in that moment, okay, I'm going to give you a breather. Come back and communicate to me because then I can at least apologize. That wasn't my intention. But when you're ignoring my phone calls, you're ducking me, you don't want to see me, you are intentionally avoiding me when I just apologize. So it's not like, oh, well, I hate confrontation. No, I'm trying to make peace. I've apologized. You don't want to accept my apology.
Yeah.
That's your business.
Yeah. See, but I have cut people off. And it's not like a cut dry. It's like I am a very, 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 I think I'm a very patient person for the most part. I think it takes a long time for me to get to a breaking point. Mm-hmm. So if our friendship does fall apart, there were things that led up to that, and I've spoken on it. So there's not something that you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know why Leandra doesn't talk to me anymore. It's like, it's more so protecting my peace. It's not like, and it's not, and it hurts me too. Just like certain ways in that breakup of your friendship, that hurts you, but you still have to protect your peace. And we've talked about that in other episodes. We've talked about how important that is. So things that, are hurtful decisions can still be to protect your peace. Yeah. And in friendships, I think over the years, I tried to, reason with myself. And I was like, why am I always holding on to relationships that aren't benefiting me? And it's not in a selfish way, but you have to really look like, are you giving more than what you're getting? Are you doing more than what somebody else is doing for you? And it's not that you need to go tit for tat and, okay, I did this. Okay, now you do that. No, it's more so just like just a mutual thing that happens and it flows. There's not a lot of effort that needs to go there. It's just game recognizing game, and you knowing how that friend is to you, you want to give some of that back to them. So in friendships for me over the years, I just started praying over, my friendships. I was having a hard time with friendships, and I was in friendships for a long time, and people that were very near and dear to my heart that, were part of my family, and,
in your wedding,
and with the kids, and, so there's things to be said for learning that season of that friendship and knowing that you've addressed these certain things. And then you have to know when it's time to say, okay, I think this has run its course.
Yes.
And I prayed specifically over just, a friend that was, genuine with their intentions and genuine on how they felt, and no hidden agendas, and honesty is everything to me. Mm-hmm. So if we're best friends, or if we're friends, and if I'm, if we're I'm not a surface level person, right? So if we're having conversations and it's deep, and I'm opening up to you, or you're in my life enough where you can see what's going on, and I don't necessarily, I find things out through the grapevine, and I'm like, what? That happened? Like, how? Girl, you didn't tell me that? Like, why didn't you tell me that? And I know some people will be like, girl, that ain't none of your business. But to me, I was like, that's offensive, because how am I trusting you with certain things that's going on with my life, where I put you up to a standard and I feel comfortable enough inviting you into that space with me, but you don't feel that or have that respect with me? That tells me, like, where is that gray area there? When do you, it's kind of like, way too much about me, and I'm not knowing enough about you, and we're not meeting in the middle there. And now I feel like you got ammo, right? I'm just like, you got a lot of ammo going on. Like, you know way more than I know about you. So it's just like, is that not a friendship? What is your take on that? What is your take on friendships, and how deep do you get with your friends? Is it a comfortability thing? Is it like...
I'm so guilty of that. I cannot tell a lie. Listen, so you already know most of my friendships. Like, you're the first, like, real adult
made in the adult life.
Yes. I've had a lot of, like, childhood friendships, so they already know my dirt, right?
Yeah.
And I'm a little afraid. I've watched, like, the Real Housewives. Like, these people were friends, and then, like, all of a sudden the truth and all the secrets start spilling out, and I'm like, like, no. So I've actually, like, even my mama told me, like, you can't trust everybody. And you know why? Because your best friend has a best friend of their own, right? And so there are some people who, yes, want to take your secret and go and broadcast, and they want to bring you down. But there are actually also some people who genuinely don't want to hurt you, but they just have a slip of a tongue. It's not that they're even gossiping. They're like, oh, you went through that? Yeah, well, Shirley. I didn't want you to say that. But, like, it was really innocent. And I have those friends who are really just, like, innocent with their mouth, but I'm like, I don't want you to tell that. So I
wanted you to X-nay on that part, actually.
I do keep some things to myself. I'll let you in some stuff, I'll put you out there like, yeah, girl, I went through that too. But the deep, dark secrets that I don't want ever to be broadcasted, I'm going to take that to the grave. It just is what it is,
I think that's a personal thing. I think that's definitely a person, because I'm more of an open book, right? I'm just an open book. I'm like, okay, we can talk.
I can't have you telling my stories to other people, even though, again, that may not be your intention. It really just could be an innocent slip of the tongue, but I just can't have you telling my story. No.
So how do you feel about being a cheerleader to other people? Like, when you look at friendships and you're saying, okay, what are your key things? What do you look for? And I just said mine. What are your, the honesty, the openness, the non, you can't be jealous. You can't be low key jealous of what I have going on. I feel like everybody has their own thing that they eventually get to celebrate, right? But I've endured that. I've had that where I'm like, I wouldn't do that to that
jealous
person.
Friendships,
so.
And we're just like, That's the thing. We were cheerleaders. I'm celebrating you. I want you to get married. You know, I want you to have a baby. I want you to have an amazing marriage. I want you to be a millionaire. And if it's all before me, fine. I'm not going to get jealous or envious of you. I've had people, you know, who are getting promoted quicker than me.
Right.
And honestly, it inspires me, like, oh, okay, like, what did they do differently? Like, maybe, you know, let me ask questions or whatever, because I want to get to where you're at. But to be jealous, to go and whisper behind your back, oh, don't promote her, or don't marry her because this and that and da 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 da. And
because you dealt with that personally. You dealt with that. So you're speaking from like a personal experience on dealing with that.
Yes. And I'm just like, one, why are you jealous of me? I didn't do anything special. This is just what God ordained for me. That's
right.
Your
and what
time
he
is coming.
Ordained, nobody can interfere with that.
I
think that's something that people need to realize too. Like, there's nothing I can do to stop what God is blessing in your life already. So be happy for you.
Really.
You know, I'm a huge cheerleader. I do that with everybody, you know, and sometimes I could be at my lowest points and I'm still cheering other people on, and that's in my work field, my sisters,
even
my friends.
You're low.
When I'm low, I'm just, you know, still, you know, wanting that for other people. Like, even when I've gone through my own dark days, I have spoken up on those, and I'm like, don't even look at what I'm going through and think that that's going to happen to you, or, you know, I kind of flip it, and I'm like, don't be discouraged by what I'm going through in my dark days, you know, and I'm like, don't look at it like that. You know, you have a totally different story. You can't project your negativity on everybody else. So when you're having these moments with these people that you're calling your friends, and you're trying to incorporate them in your life, but then you're seeing these little red flags. Like, we get red flags in friendship, okay? Not just in your relationships, dating, marriage, what have you. There are red flags in friendship. And I think the jealousy, the low key, throwing in like little comments here and there, I think kind of just not showing up.
Let relationships kind of run its course because we're so busy. Yeah, I can honestly just not respond. It's like, well, you're not talking to me, I'm not talking to you. Like, I think God, when it comes to my friendships, God has just kind of taken them away from me. Like, I haven't even had to confront a person like, you did this to me and I don't like it. And I honestly haven't even had to confront. Mind you, I love confrontation. I love putting people in their place. I thrive in that area. But like, I haven't had to. God just kind of removed people away from me. And in terms of like, you asked, what do I look for in friendships? Well, now that I've had a friendship with you, like, honestly, it's like, oh, I've been, you know, not dating the greatest of people. And when you have like a good one, that's the person you marry, right? Well, now I have a good one in Lily. So now Lily has set the standard, and it's really someone who cares. Yeah. So Lily not only cares about me, but if you really want to get to my heart, you got to care about the people around me. And that's my husband, my children, and my mom. Honestly, and I probably should focus more on me, but if you do right by them, if you're respecting them and loving them, you have me for life.
Like, that means more to you than just caring about like loving you is loving your family. And that's, you know, I'm definitely that same way, because if you can't get along with my family, or you don't have love for my family, how does that work?
You know, how are you gonna come over during Thanksgiving, Friendsgiving? Like, how you gonna do that? my husband can't stand you and you can't stand him. How that gonna work?
I've never had a Friendsgiving, and now they have a Galentine or something like that that I'm just hearing about, and I'm like, what is that? Is that a gal thing? Like, it's for the gals? And they're like, no, it's for your friends for Valentine's Day. And I'm like, oh, I was like, they come up with so many fancy things nowadays. And I'm just like, I don't know if I'm just lost or I don't pay attention. I still haven't even caught on to the Friendsgiving. So I'm behind. I haven't done all the fun things.
Listen, like, you have enough family members at this point. Like, I'm surprised you had room for me. you and your 4 sisters alone. I'm like, sheesh.
There's so much love to go, because I think every relationship offers something different. Like I go to you for certain things that I know that we connect with. I get from my sisters individually. There's something different that I get from each and individually every single relationship.
Yeah.
So when there's something, they feel me differently. Mm-hmm. So it's more so in a sense of, having those crutches, those clutches, those, A1 since day one, so to speak. And there's different seasons of your life, like we met in our adult life. So you were in a transition. You were in a different part of your life that you moved, you relocated, you were starting over, and you came in a crucial part in my life, I feel like. So with that being said, it just kind of, and I'm telling you, and I've told you this before, I've prayed over, God removing people in my life and also God placing the right people in my life. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that has been so important because when I'm upset about something that is falling apart, I try to remind myself, like, you have prayed about this. You need to now be okay with that answered prayer and you need to move forward. And I think that when you do have those friendships that fall apart, don't wish bad on anybody. No, don't do any of that. You don't need to let honest, God do all that work.
To keep my blessings, like I've made sure, like, okay, Shirley, let's really make sure you've, moved on from what that person did to you, right? Like I'm all about don't block your blessings. And one of the ways you block your blessings is not forgiving that person. So like when you don't, because God has removed that person away, you don't see them. Right?
Yeah.
And then like, I don't know, they appear on your feed because like someone's wishing them a birthday and you're like,
no, girl, you just remove them, period. Just remove it, period.
Well, you see, that's the thing. I need to make sure I've really forgiven you and I've moved on. So like, I'll reach out. Hey, I love what you're doing. Like just to make sure like, yes, I've removed the toxicity out of my life, or God has removed that toxicity out of my life. We can't be friends, but it doesn't mean we have to be enemies either,
But so you don't need to be all good. Hey, girl, happy to see you. Even though I got ticked off when I saw your post, like, just move it. You don't need to be, that's not genuine to me. No, don't even, whatever. Shirley gonna keep you on the timeline. You gonna get a happy birthday from her. You ain't gonna be on my timeline because I removed it and I don't even see it, and you're not getting a happy birthday from me. So call Shirley if you want a happy birthday. Because I'm not doing all that. And I'm not saying everybody get like, oh, we're not friends, that's it, delete. All I'm saying is when it's not genuine, I know it's not genuine, and both ways. It ain't genuine, I don't want it. So you get removed respectfully.
So I put myself in that place. I put myself in that state of mind. Like, when you're getting ready for like a listing or a game, right? Like it's that you get yourself ready, like, hoorah. Like you just get yourself ready, right? So I get myself ready. Not that I'm commenting like happy birthday all the time, but I'm like, all right, come from a good place. Come from a good place. Like I am happy that their business is thriving. I am happy you.
That's good.
Yes. God bless you. I'ma like that, and that's about it. And it may just be once that year or once that decade.
Okay.
But I just need to make sure my heart is clear.
Yeah.
I was telling my husband, and I hope that's what we'll talk about on a future conversation about like forgiveness. Like I do not mind eating SHIT if that means I am going to get my blessing from God.
Amen.
Because everyone is God's children, right? Even those that do you wrong, even when we're like, ooh, God don't like ugly, or there's a special place in hell for you people like you.
Well, that's low key throwing bad juju towards them, though. I'm talking about like, so what I do is I still pray for people I do not even talk to, that I quite frankly am not a fan of. When I have those thoughts come to mind, I will literally stop myself and I'll pray over them.
Well,
and I'm like, okay, so now I need to pray over them because I need to make sure I'm not trying to cast any of that out towards them because whatever you're casting out, you're getting back, right?
Exactly.
So what I do is I give that space. So no, you're not, included on my, timeline.
Oh, well, girl, I did need some time to heal. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
It took me about 5-7 years.
Oh, wow.
Don't get it twisted.
Okay, girl, that's a long time.
I didn't know. I was still holding something.
You're like, oh, it's been 7 years. That's weird. It felt like it was yesterday, but no, I get that. I can respect that.
I was still holding on to stuff because again, their birthday is only once a year. So and they're not.
I don't know. By the way, audience, I do not know who she's talking about. So
they're friends with my friends. So
I don't know.
I'm on my feed, and I'm like,
oh, they're friends with your friends. That's a whole nother conversation. When your enemies become friends with your friends, I think that's interesting because they weren't friends before, and now they're best friends. Now, anyway, we're gonna skip that one because that one can go left. So we don't need to talk about that. But you know who you are out there being friends with friends you weren't friends with because of certain conversations
if
that
I
you want to
hate this person,
hold.
you hate them too. I tell them all the time. I'm like, why do you like that person? Do you know? We're in this together.
Oh, I think it depends. That's a situational thing, I think.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
When your spouse is still talking to the person that you despise.
I think it depends on what happened. I think it depends on what happened.
All about loyalty, okay?
There's definitely a loyalty thing there.
Don't get it twisted, right? This was back when we were younger, and my husband was still friends with that person. I'm like, you're gonna learn. I told you, but you're gonna learn. Yeah. And he's done the same thing with me. Like, Shirley, you will learn. And that's the thing. You'll learn. You learn.
Live, learn.
I probably should have cut them off when you cut them off. My B. I've learned.
Well, you give people benefit of the doubt.
Absolutely.
You really do. You give people benefit of the doubt because you're wanting better, right? And you don't want to just be like, because I've had to check myself, and I'm like, you know what? How come I'm always having to find something wrong with somebody else? Like, how come I'm always upset with what this one or that one did? And I'm like, there's got to be a time. But there's got to be a time where you step back and you allow people to be who they are.
Yes.
So, but deal breaker, there's definitely a line where you don't need to accept certain things either.
Boundaries.
So please know that there's a balance there. Please know that it's okay to not be accepting of certain things and to be able to love that person from afar, or be able to, like Shirley said, shout them a happy birthday, or be like me and just pray for them behind closed doors and just don't talk to them. Whatever it is that you need to do to protect your peace, and you know what that looks like, and you know how to bring that into real life reality, then you need to tune into that. And I think that it's important to have friendships, but I think it's important to have healthy friendships. And whether you're on the receiving or giving end, I think
at this age, I don't have time for toxicity.
There's no room for any of the toxicity
I'll refer
at
to
all.
A counselor, okay? Like, we can't be doing that same stuff back in our 20s. Like, you have got to grow up.
And you have to figure out what part of this, because you get triggered, and it's hitting a trauma point in your life, and what version of that is it hitting? Is it hitting, your teenage life, like you're saying? Is it hitting your childhood trauma? What is it hitting that you feel like it's fulfilling? Or if it's not fulfilling, figure it out, put it in line, and get some good friends in your corner, because count yourself lucky if you have good friends that genuinely care about you, your family, your outcome. And it's not because they're getting something from you, but it's because you guys are working together and literally meshing as one, as a friendship. You're benefiting each other. It's not a one-way street.
I know we're running out of time. We're actually so past our time. But another thing that just hit me, those friendships that come out of nowhere, right? Not just you, Miss Lily. There have been people that have poured into my life that I didn't even really know that they were friends. I just kind of met them in passing.
Yes.
But they continue to sow into my life just because you don't, have the same, you may not hang out with that person all the time. You may not have the same interests or whatever, but they're pouring into your life. Value those people. We have a tendency to value those that treat us like dirt. But those that have
Why?
flowed into our lives and we didn't expect it. Like, I remember my 21st birthday like it was yesterday. And I invited all of my close friends and no one showed up. But my one friend that I did invite, she invited some people from like my college organic chemistry class, right? I only interact with these people in class. I do not have their phone number. I do not see them outside of the classroom, not even walking around campus.
But they showed up.
They showed up.
They showed
up. They made me laugh. I was like, I didn't even invite you. But you made this the best birthday I could have ever had. I mean, you know, I'm probably Facebook friends with them. I don't talk with them or whatever. But boy,
but you never forgot that. You never forgot that, and that stood out to you. And you can see, like, okay, this person showed up for me when they didn't have to, right? When they didn't have to, and they were there. Yeah, that's important.
Those people and pour right back into them.
That's
because
key.
You may not have much in common, but you've got to respect the people that see something in you, that treasure you, and want to lift you up and celebrate you.
That's right.
But the people that are supposed to be your people,
they be falling short way too many times, and you need to understand and put people in where they belong in your life. You know what I'm saying? Nobody gets a free pass anymore, ladies. This is 2024. We're done with that. Nobody gets a free pass, okay? We're done with that. We're going to love ourselves enough where we're not going to allow that anymore, because that's unacceptable behavior. Unacceptable.
At this point, my youngins, if you're watching this, if you're in your 20s and you got those like childhood elementary friendships, evaluate. Just take a look. How are they pouring into you, and how are you pouring into them? It's a two-way street.
Correct.
Look at it and be mindful of those people who were so chummy with you, loved you, can't wait for you to get married. The moment you got married and had a child, how are they treating you now? The truth will come out. It's not just me. It's not with Lily. I've seen this with a lot of women, that you just happen to get married early and now your friend is jealous. Okay, pay attention to those people. And then to my grown ladies, our 30s and 40s ladies, all right, evaluate those friendships. Again, it's not cutting them off. It may just be you were there for a season, or, you know, like maybe it's time, like your toxicity is, you know, rubbing off a little too much on me. Let's have a conversation, right? Maybe you don't have to cut them off unless God removes them, because God will remove people.
Yes, he does.
Let's have a conversation. I don't do this anymore. I know I used to be clubbing back in the 20s, but you know, now in my 30s, like I'm trying to settle down. I'm trying to prepare for my family life.
That's
I don't want to go to a club anymore. So have a simple conversation.
That is not my scene.
That's it. You know?
All right.
I can't believe we went like this. Oh my gosh.
And I still have so much more to say. So I don't know. We're going to have to cut it, because we'll have to do a part 2 of friendship in the future on, you know, because it's important, because it plays a big role in our life. And I think
it really does.
We have to cherish the friendships that we do have that are great. I love my friendship with you. I'm so appreciative of you.
I cherish
I am so spoiled by our friendship in so many ways. It's just incredible.
If you're not on Miss Lily's level, I don't want it.
I love you, girl. But I love you all so much, and we're hoping that you guys are taking in what we're saying to you and, you know, taking notes, because I think Shirley speaks from experience. I speak from experience. And I don't know, Shirley, wrap it up.
We just thank you all so much. All of the friends in our lives, those that have built us up, you know who you are, because I thank you. I've recognized you. Like, I appreciate you.
That's right.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Miss Lily. And for all our unknown friends, those that are supporting us, liking us, following us, like, wow.
Oh, my heart, every time.
We don't even know you, but you're supporting us and trust. Like, we appreciate it. It's not even about like, ooh, let's build our following. Let's become popular. No, it's like, wow. Like, we're really trying with this content. We pray before each recording. So like, if we're touching you and you're liking it, like, we are grateful to you. You didn't have to watch us. You could have just swiped, like, you didn't have to, but you did.
You took the time.
We appreciate you, and we recognize that. Thank you so much. God bless you. Please tune in next time for Kingdom Conversations.
Bye.
Bye.